Welcome everyone to this week's Texas Roadhouse press conference. Got a little bit of a busy week considering it's winter. Men's and women's basketball will have a doubleheader this Thursday against UT Tyler. Starting at 5:15 with the women's game. It'll be the first time in school history or program history that the two teams will face off against each other. And then on Saturday, men's and women's swimming will have their final meet of the regular season in the Southwest Shootout in Georgetown. And then the men's and women's basketball will once again play a doubleheader against Texas A&M Commerce, starting at 2 p.m. when the women will tip off against top 5 program in Texas A&M Commerce. Starting off today's press conference will be head men's basketball coach Josh Newman, whose Falcons are coming off an upset victory over number 16 Dallas Baptist University on the road this Saturday.
It finally feels like basketball weather, so that means it must be baseball season right around the corner. No, we had a good week, not a great week. Obviously, the week started off at Tarleton State, where I thought our team played well in spurts. A couple minutes in the first half, we had a couple letdowns, which let the game kind of get away from us. And then in the second half, our guys did a really good job of fighting back, cutting it to 11, but it was just too much to overcome. And then, faced with honestly, a lot of adversity going into Dallas Baptist, playing a really good team that's ranked in the top 25 on their floor, who's playing really well. We challenged our team. We challenged them the night before in a team meeting. We challenged them the day of the game. And to their credit, they came in and they played a very good game for 40 minutes. And that's probably the best part for me, is that I saw them execute our game plan from start to finish. We've had some ups and downs, some lulls, but to their credit, they actually competed and executed the plan for 40 minutes.
So you mentioned the spurts against Tarleton State. What happened in those spurts that you were able to turn it into a full game against DBU?
Yeah, so we try to use our timeouts a lot wiser, just so we can kind of break up any kind of run the other team's going on. A lot of that has to do sometimes with fouls too, and for us, like for most teams, when the shots are falling, teams feel good. When your shots are falling, you play a little bit better defense. And unfortunately for us, we just couldn't get the ball going the hole early. And I thought that kind of rocked their confidence a little bit. Defensively, we were doing fine. We were actually doing what we were supposed to do. We just couldn't get the ball to go in the hole. So I think it's like most kids today, when they're having offensive success, it translates to the defensive end.
What else did you see your team do well against Dallas Baptist on Saturday?
I thought they really shared the ball. I thought they passed the ball as a unit from start to finish for possessions. Unfortunately, sometimes we take some quick shots, and I thought they really bought into let's share the ball, let's move the ball, and I think it showed with 4 guys scoring in double digits, and then 2 more guys with 8. So that was really good for us. And then our defensive intensity, our defensive mentality was a lot better. We had a certain plan going into that game with our zone, and they executed it, to the T.
And there's things that you can't control, things you can't control. Sometimes the ball going in the hoop, just you can't control it sometimes. So how do you try and stay consistent with the things you can't control, like moving the ball?
Well, just talking to them, continually reminding them of what's been successful, what hasn't been successful, how do we get to this point, how do we have so much success in the beginning. And to their credit, they're now trying to figure out how to play without Carson. And hopefully he'll be back this week. But that's also, our lineup has really been juggled. We started Malik Anderson for the first time in his career on Saturday. And it worked out really well. So maybe that's something that we stumbled upon. But just reminding them that their effort, their attitude needs to remain consistent. And that's something that we preached day one. And we're just trying to remind them that's what has to happen for us to be successful.
Coach, that win ended what was a long losing streak for you guys. What did you learn about your team during that time period? You guys were not doing so well.
Well, I don't know if we learned anything new. We learned that if we do the things we're supposed to do and we execute the game plan, then we're going to have success. If we deviate from that, it's going to be a lot harder. And so I think maybe it's refreshed them or reminded them, because we really didn't learn anything new. We're halfway through the conference season. We are who we are. We just have to make a little bit better mental approach on the floor. Scouting report, executing the scouting report, and just being thorough and saying, hey, you know what? Rather than take this shot, let's move the ball a little more. Hey, rather than have a breakdown here, let's give one more extra rotation. So I think it's just tightening up and just knowing what we do well and then executing that part of it.
You got UT Tyler this Thursday, so what are they looking like?
Yeah, so they're a scrappy team. They're a team that's going through the provision of becoming a Division II program. Their coach is a really good friend of mine. He does a fantastic job. They're going to junk it up. They're going to try to figure out how to basically take Pat Demley out of the game and make other people beat them. So what we have to do is figure out how we can include Pat, but at the same time, let the other guys do what they do and be successful. So I'm sure we're going to see some kind of jump defense, mix and match with man, zone, box and one, all kinds of different things. So we just have to kind of really be prepared between now and Thursday for anything that they throw at us.
To that end, you got a lot more production from Miles and Adam and stuff over the weekend, so that's got to be a pleasant, thing for you to have.
No question. We tried to tell them, the day before at Tarleton is, hey, we have to create some inside presence. We have to throw the ball inside. And we had a little bit of success at Tarleton, but we really kind of held them to the fire on Saturday and said the ball's going to go inside or you're not going to play. And we did have a lot of success in production because we knew Dallas Baptist was going to double. So we basically invited the double team, and then if the guys were willing to make the extra pass, we're going to get a lot of open opportunities. So give the guys credit. Again, they executed the game plan, and that was to go inside, create the double team, and then get the ball kicked back out, and then basically play and make the right play after that.
You mentioned the injuries, of course, that the team's been going through, and then trying to mix and match the rotations. What's the biggest challenge for the coaching staff as a whole when you never know who's going to be up, and you have to put these pieces together? And do you feel like it kind of came together finally when it came to that debut game?
I don't know if it came together. It's hard, and obviously we can kind of go back in time, and Justin Kerrigan was standing up here, and he's got a football team that's trying to figure it out, and unfortunately injuries are a part of it. And as a coach, you just hate that because it affects the team, it affects the winning, it affects how your team performs. You can imagine obviously if half the people that were back in the studio, the really good ones, couldn't figure out how to go to work that day. The news might not be broadcasted at the right level. If you own a business and your top 2 salesmen are sick and they're out for a week, your sales are going to drop. So it's just something that you deal with. It's a part of sports. My staff, they deserve a tremendous amount of credit. Right now, they are doing the subbing. I'm trying to do the coaching, and they're watching the guys' minutes. They're watching how hard they're playing. We're watching the media timeouts. When we can get a guy, get him to spell for a little bit longer. If we get somebody out 40 seconds before the media timeout, then he gets a longer break because he goes through the media. So it's really right now my staff's done a phenomenal job helping organize and balance the minutes. And then we have to balance that in practice too. But right now it's just, hey, let's put our guys out there. If someone's playing well, let's roll with it, because I don't know if we have a true rotation, because some guys are playing well and some guys are having some off nights. So it's just all part of it, and hopefully we'll get Carson back. That will help us because he's the guy that we desperately need out there.
Coach, you guys like to get up and down and put up a lot of points. When you play a team like UT Tyler that likes to slow it down and, like you said, make the game kind of ugly, how do you guys make sure you're playing your style and kind of dictating and not vice versa?
So I think early success is going to be really important, because they are going to try to shorten the possessions. They want to have as few possessions as possible in the game, and obviously we'd like to have as many as possible. So I think that for us, the ball's got to go in the basket early. We've got to make sure that we execute and get those quality shots, because if we can get some points on the board, then they're going to have to catch up with us. If it's a low-scoring game and it's really close, then they're going to dictate the tempo. So we'll try to figure out how to do some things defensively as well to try to speed them up and get them to play our way. But it is hard. It's like playing the Kansas City Chiefs. You don't want to give the ball to Mohan, to Patrick as much as you can. So they're going to try to take the ball out of our hands as much as possible, and we've got to figure out how to get as many possessions as possible. All right.
Thanks,
you.
Coach.
Thank you.
And next up is head women's basketball coach Ray Boothe.
That's
who's
perfect
had a
timing.
couple of really close road games this week.
Okay, Coach, a couple of close road games this week, especially against Texas Women's. What were your takeaways from those games?
Well, what a difference 3 possessions made, right? So we lost 2 games by 3 possessions. I think the takeaways are every possession matters. I think we missed a lot of opportunities in the Tarleton game. Our free throw percentage was terrible, actually in both games. It was really bad. We just need to clean up areas, to lose 2 big games. We could be right now, by 3 possessions, we could be 6th in the conference. And instead we're in a 3-way tie for 13th. So just a difference that makes, I think, making that very real, becomes real for our team. And hopefully we'll value our preparation a little bit more. But this is a big week for us. It's a must win for us on Thursday.
And you've mentioned throughout the season, of course, we've seen, of course, the woes, injury woes that we just mentioned also with Coach Newman as well. When you go through that and you talk about the experience of your team, when these close games, of course, don't result in the way you want to, do those young players still gain that experience, that crucial experience of those late games?
Well, yes, I do. And I think every time you're put in that position, you gain a little bit more experience and you're better prepared. However, I think our win over Eastern New Mexico really threw that inexperience excuse out the window for this team. Like, that was a big time win for us and very close at the end, and we were able to value possessions more. And so I think really just understanding how valuable every single game is, especially at this point in the season where it is, it's going to be a tight race on the women's side. From 6 through probably 13 is right now a difference of 2 games. So just understanding that, I think more in terms of how Lone Star Conference play is experience and preparation. Our preparation right now, we're playing, the 18th team in our conference on Thursday and then the first team in our conference on Saturday. And then they both mean the same. They both equal the same amount of wins and losses. And so we've got to make sure we're prepared for each team. Like, they are a championship game for us. And that's the way we want to approach it, and I don't think we did a very good job of that last week.
When it comes to this point of the season, what do you think is the biggest challenge as far as trying to stay consistent when you're really in the dog days of the season?
I think just, again, the value of every game and every practice. We're not going to get this practice back. We really need to be mindful of our preparation, just like we're mindful of how we're taking care of our bodies. It is a long season, and we have gone through some injuries, and we think we're going to get more and more healthy bodies back as time goes by. We just hope when they come back, we're better than in certain positions to where they come back and we're a better team. And I do think that this week is kind of a make or break week for us. We have to win on Thursday. And so really, I think our focus is going to be better this week than it's been all season. And if we can get a win under our belts this week and then hopefully go compete with Commerce, and then we can go to the next week with a lot of confidence.
Coach, against Texas Women's, you guys really only played 6 girls major minutes. Do you see going into this week your rotation getting a little larger, maybe more healthy, or is it going to be kind of more the same?
I hope more healthy, but that's going to be up to our athletic training staff. I think it's likely, but we're going to prepare as if we don't have our starting point guard right now for Thursday. And if she's able to go, we're excited to have her. And I think she's going to, it's going to be kind of like starting all over again. You go through injuries. KJ was the same way on Thursday. She played limited minutes, not great minutes. Her quality of minute was not up to par for where she was before. She was out for, I guess, 6 games. But Saturday, we saw KJ again. She had life. I think it's going to be the same way when we get Kayla back. She'll compete, but I think she'll need a game before she's really firing on all cylinders like she normally is. And I think we know when we get everybody healthy, of course, we hope we're in a great position to still be competing for the tournament. So our young kids are gaining some great experience through kind of the adversity of the Lone Star Conference.
Going into Thursday, you mentioned, of course, that intense preparation that needs to be happening. What do you think is going to be some keys going into Thursday for you to focus on?
We really need to take better care of the basketball. Our game is always, if we can shoot 15 more times than our opponent, so value the ball, don't go away, get second chance opportunities, and then force turnovers, we really will be in a great position. So just really sticking to let's try to shoot 15 more times than our opponent and not give them so many free throws. I think that is doable for what we have against Tyler. But Tyler, they cause a lot of turnovers as well. They just went to overtime against Arkansas Fort Smith, who's a great team. So I think Tyler is playing for the same thing, even though they can't compete in the Lone Star Conference tournament right now, just valuing every game. But really, we've got to outwork them. We have got to become much, much more efficient offensively with the basketball. Alexis Quadman has had big games. Unfortunately, she fell out at the end of regulation at Texas Women's. I think if we would have had her in overtime, it would have been helpful. She didn't get to play at all. And then Holly has done extremely well with the ball. We really need another consistent. Jordan Rogers didn't play at all for us on Saturday. We anticipate her being able to play Thursday. Without what was, she just had 17 points at Tarleton. That was a loss for us. But we need more than 2 players, more than 2 freshmen to be our priority scorers. So hopefully we have 4 players that are able to score a high amount for us on Thursday.
You obviously don't want to look past that Thursday game if you have a big opportunity hosting a top 5 team on Saturday. What's it like when you get to have a game like that?
Great. It's crazy that we get these 2 teams on the same week. Definitely need to take care of Thursday's game and not take them for granted by any means. But Saturday, Commerce is right now the only team in the league undefeated on the women's side. Maybe one of 3 teams in the country. Could be wrong. I haven't looked at the polls yet. 3 teams. To have them here is like you're playing one of the best teams in the country. And to have them at home, we really get to see where we line up against that. A couple weeks ago, we failed terribly when we played LCU. So they're very different than LCU. They're very athletic. They're very, very up-tempo. To see where we match up against them, I think is going to be a great opportunity to hopefully see growth before we then play our second round of our division games, which is extremely tough a week after.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, everybody.
You're welcome, Tom.